In this video, we're going to talk about emitting events and what emitting events means. If you're following along in my tutorials, go ahead and make sure you watch everything. But if you're just interested in seeing how to emit an event, you can probably fast forward to about minute 10 and get right into emitting events. Otherwise, there's a few steps that I do in this setup process. Let's open up VS Code and I'll open up my Chrome browser, and here I have my project. So as of right now, we have our app.vue file, which is right here. We have an image, which is what we see here. We have a form, or really it's not a form because we're not using the form tags, but we have form elements inside of this div new cat class, and that's what we see right here, this little box. And then we have our cat card, and we're using v4, and we're looping through the cat card, and we're providing each instance of that card some unique information. That's what we see right here. But I want to take some of this out. I want to pull out this new cat form, this add a cat, and put it into its own component. And we'll be able to, it'll clean this code up a little bit. It'll make it a little more readable. We'll be able to take out some of this stuff down here. And then we're going to use emit to emit an event and let our app.vue know that when a user presses the add cat in our new child component, to go ahead and add this new cat into our list of cats. So first things first, let's create our new component. And I'm going to do that, and we'll just call this cat form.view. All right. We know we need our template and we need our script. And I believe we had some custom CSS for that. So we'll do style and scoped. Now I'm going to save that. All right, so let's move our add a cat form over from our app.vue. So we should be able to copy all this out. I'm just going to go from div to div, and then we see we have a class of new cat, so we'll come back and grab that in a second. I'm using Command X to copy all that out, and I'm just going to use Command V to paste it right here. So now all of our HTML is copied from app.vue over into our new cat form. The next thing I'm going to do is let me go grab the CSS, this class of new cat, out of our app.vue file. So we'll come down here. Again, I'm going to use Command X to copy that out. I'm going to save this, and you can see when I saved, it took our form out. We're going to add that back in a second. I'm pasting in this new cat CSS class. So now our styling should work, and we have a V model, and we're binding that to the new cat object and title. So let's make sure that we go grab that new cat object and add it to our data properties in our new component. So in app.vue, we can scroll up, and I'm just going to copy this right here. Command C to copy. And for this, fix that a little. So we have our new cat, and let's go ahead and close off those parentheses for our data. We'll fix this, and we'll close off that parenthesis for our return, and that should be good. Now let's give our new component, we'll just call this cat-form, and our V model should be able to bind to these data properties now, this new cat with our title, our message, our link, visible, and image. The next thing I see is we have a couple buttons. And these buttons, we're using the shorthand syntax for V on right here, which is the @ symbol. And we're saying when the event of click happens on this button, we want to execute this method of add cat, and then there's another button of reset cat. I'll take this out right now. All right, so we don't get confused. And I just want to go grab this @click and then the reset cat method from our app.view. So let me see. I'm going to add in the methods, and let me go grab that reset cat. I'm going to copy that out with Command X, and I'll save. And I'm going to paste it right here. And I'm going to save that. Cool. So now our reset cat, when a user clicks on the reset cat, it can fire off this method. Since we're using vModel in our new component and we're binding that to the new cat properties right here, we can get rid of it in our app.view. So let's go ahead and we should be able to remove this right here. Okay. Now I'm going to save my app.view. Now let's go ahead and make sure that all right, I'm getting a little, it's giving me this 1 right here, which tells me that there's an error in our cat form. Let me just double check this. And our data is good, our methods, it looks like I'm missing a closing curly brace, so let me just add that in real quick. And you can see the 1 went away, so that error is gone. So our cat form.view should be good to go now. Let's go ahead and add our cat form into our app.view file. So we're already importing a component. We just want to import another component. This time, instead of cat card, it's going to be cat form. So we should be able to import, we should be able to do exactly what we see right here, which is import cat form from, and then components / and then cat form. Cool. Now we want to add this imported component of cat form into our list of components down here. So right after cat card, I'll put a comma and we can do cat form. So now we can use it in our template. And we're just going to put it exactly where we copied out all that information before, which is right here. And we should be able to say cat dash form and then close it off. And now when I save, if everything went according to plan, we should see our form right up here again. So let me Command S to save, and there we go. We got our form back. All right, we removed our @click event from our button, so we know our add cat isn't going to work. We brought over our reset cat method, which is right here, but then we're using this cat card again. We haven't imported it yet, so let's go ahead and import our cat card. And this is actually just it shows a little example inside of our form over here of what the card would look like if you added the cat. So let's go ahead and we'll do import cat card from cat card. Since we're inside of our components folder, we didn't need to go back a directory and then into the components like we did in our app.view. So we're going to import our cat card from cat card. Now we want to make sure that we add our components object and then put our cat card inside. Now we can use this right here. So I'm going to save, Command S to save. And let's just see if I type, everything appears to be working. Now let's do our reset. Our reset worked, but our add cat is not going to do anything. And this is where we're going to emit an event to our parent component. And when we emit that event, we're actually going to pass it the new cat object up to our app.view. And then we're going to tell app.view to go ahead and fire off this add cat. Now we don't have to reset anymore, so I can comment this out and I'll save, but we're going to pass it some information of the new cat. Now because we said this new cat and we got rid of the new cat object up here, this isn't going to work anymore. So I'm just going to get rid of this for now, and we're actually going to pass this add cat function some information of what we want to add to our list. So let me save this, and let's check out what Vue has to say on emitting events. So Vue.js.org, and we'll go to Learn and Guide, and then Emit. So it says right here, emitting a value with an event. It's sometimes useful to emit a specific value with an event. For example, we may want the blog post component to be in charge of how to enlarge the text by. In those cases, we want to use emit's second parameter to provide this value. So they're using v_on_click emit the event name, which is going to be enlarged text, and then a specific value. So if we come over here to our cat form, we should be able to say v-on and click. We want that equal to, and then they say we can use $emit. Inside of this, we're going to pass it the name of the event. For this case, we're going to say create new cat. That's the event. And the data we want to pass it is actually going to be our new cat. So I should be able to just say new cat. So when I hover over top of this, it's saying custom event name, create new cat, must be kebab case. So let's go ahead and we should be able to type create new cat. All right, I'm not getting the squiggly lines. That should be good to go. So we're saying v_on click, we want to emit an event called create new cat, and when that event emits, pass along the new cat data, which is right here. And that, since this is bound to these V models up here, it's going to pass all the information. I'm going to use the shorthand syntax right here so we can get rid of the v_on, and I should be able to just say @click. All right, so let's save that. Now, nothing's going to happen when I click on my add cat because we're emitting an event right here, but we're not listening for it in our app.vue. Doesn't matter. I could click this add cat as many times as I want, and it doesn't matter because we're not listening for that event. So we learned how to emit an event. So we're firing off this event. You know what? Let's go ahead. I'm going to save. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to pull up my dev tools. Let me come over here and I want to see this @click emit create new cat event. I want to see what's happening. So I'm going to click on events and we'll just say title, hello, and then message, this is a cat, link. It doesn't really matter because we're just testing this. And I'm not even going to provide an image. And let me just see, when I click add cat, I want to see what events are happening. So add cat, all right, cool. We can see that this create new cat event happened. It's got a name of create new cat. Source is coming from our cat form.vue, and it's got a payload, and that payload has an object. And that object is everything that we typed right here. So we can see that this event happened, but we're not listening for it. So let's listen for it. Let's go back to our app.vue and listen for this event. And then we want to grab that payload and do something with it. Probably add it back into our list of cats. So let's do that. I can close out of this. I'm going to reset this. And let's see how we listen for an event. Wait a second. Did I just answer my own question? How do we listen for an event? We use the v_on or the @ and then the name of the event. So technically, I should be able to go back over here to app.vue and do v_on create new cat. So I'm listening for that event, and then I should be able to tell it to do something. Let's go ahead and give that a try. So I'm back in my app.vue, my cat-form, and I want to say v-on create new cat. So on the create new cat event, which is what I called it right here, I want it to do something. I should be able to say equals, and then what I want it to do, what I want it to come down here and add a cat. So I need to pass it some information. So I'm going to say add cat. I want it to run the add cat method, and then I want it to pass the new cat data that we received from our cat form. So it's passing this new cat data. I want it to pass that from here down to our add cat method into this function, and then I want to add it to the beginning of the list. So I should be able to use add cat. We're going to listen for the event of create new cat, and then we want to grab the payload from that event and pass it to our add cat method down here. I'm just going to call this the new cat. So I'm passing that in, and then I want to add it to the beginning of our list of cats. Let me go ahead and save that. I didn't break anything. I'm not getting any errors. And let's just give this a try. I'm going to just do cats. This is a cat. The link, I'm just going to type something in. We just want to see if this works. We don't really care that that doesn't do anything. So when I click the add cat, it should fire off this. When I click right here at click, it should emit this event called create new cat, pass it the object of new cat, which is right here. And since new cat has these V models, we're binding the new cat information, title, message, link, image. We're going to pass all this back to app.view. Since we're on the cat form and we're using the V on, so we're listening for the create new cat, then we wanted to fire off this method of add cat, and we're going to pass it the event. Let's see what happens. Wow. So we just emitted an event to our parent app.view, and it added this new cat card to our list of cats. That's pretty cool. But so here we can see after it fired off this add new cat, we never reset our form. So let's go ahead and take care of that. We want to make sure that the reset works. I wonder if I come back over here to catform.view, I wonder if I can add an additional parameter of reset cat. We'll save that. So now we're saying first do this, create a new cat and emit this new cat object, and then reset. Let's give that a whirl. I'm going to refresh this. We'll do hello, hello. Just type some stuff in here. Add cat. Wow. Okay. So I added all my new cat information, and then I reset my form. But I don't really like the way this looks. It works, which is cool, but I think instead of emitting all this in a single line, because I feel like this could get pretty lengthy, let's go ahead and copy out this logic right here. So I'm going to use Command X to copy that out. And instead, I'm going to add another method down here and kind of put all this logic in there. So I'm going to do Command X. My @click is going to, we'll do add new cat. And then let's go ahead and create that method down here. Add new cat. All right. And then let's reproduce that logic that we had up here down here inside of our methods. So the first thing we want to do, we know we want to emit an event called create new cat. I think if I do this dot emit, I should be able to do create dash new dash cat and then pass it the information of this dot new cat. Okay. And then after I pass the new cat data, or after I emit that data to our parent component of app.view, I just want to say this reset cat. So we reset our cat back to the default. I think this reads a little cleaner than the previous way. So let me save this. I'm going to use Command S to save. Let me refresh this. So we're back to our default. And I'm just going to type some stuff in here. Cat stuff, cat message, links go here, and this is a image. All right, so we're not really worried about that right now. We just want to see if when I click add cat, we're going to emit create new cat. We want to send it the new cat data, and then we want to reset our cat. So let's give this a try. I'm going to click it. Wow, it did exactly what we wanted to. And now we were able to pull out this cat form from our app.view. Remember all that code that we had in here? We just reduced our template by like probably over 50%. And look how clean that is now. When we read this, we can see, all right, there's a cat form. We come down here, we imported cat form. It's in our components/cat form. And then we can go right here and we can see exactly what this small piece of our page is doing. I like to keep my components as clean and tight as possible. Sometimes these can get crazy long, and if you're working on someone else's code or if you're working on a project together with someone, it can get really, really confusing. So it's nice to be able to break these out into smaller components and then emit events to the parent components. I know this isn't a tutorial about components specifically, but how cool is that we were able to use this cat card inside of our cat form and inside of our app.view. We're using the same component, this cat card, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 different times and in 2 different view files. That's really cool. Like the way that we're able to reuse components throughout Vue is one of my favorite features. One of my favorite things to do is I like to think about how can I make this component as reusable as possible. I want to be able to drop this in everywhere. All right, I'm going to wrap this up for today. If you haven't already, go ahead and subscribe, hit the little bell icon so you get notifications, and I'll see you in the next one.